Hello, Jesse Good here, back from another video. Today I'm reviewing the LEGO Nexo Knights 2016 set called Lance's Mecha Horse. It has 237 pieces, 3 minifigures, and it retails for $20 in the United States. Now let's take a look at those minifigures. So here is Lance, my least favorite of the Knights, but this is the cheapest way you can get him because the Ultimate set isn't out and it's coming out in the summer. His little Nexo power right here is exclusive to the set, like all the other Nexo powers, and it's printed like all the other Nexo powers, and it's called Tractor Beam. Of course, that just goes off of the shield just like that, and you can see the shield always has one stud, but there's also 2 studs on the back of the shield, and that's the handle. And he has this big lance right here, and you can see how big that sucker is. It actually looks quite nice because they use the old lance piece, and then they top it off with the little arrow piece to kind of make it as a sharp tip, so that's kind of cool. And then for the rest of Lance, you can see he uses the armor piece that's found on most of the Knights in the non-ultimate sets. And he has this nice little headgear where it uses the basic kind of helmet piece, but it uses a new visor piece. Or I'm pretty sure it's a new visor piece. And you can see he has a winking face. And then on the back, he has a really cocky face. And once you take off that armor piece, you can see that there's some great kind of printing on the back and the front of his torso. And then there's a little Lance bot, and these things are really adorable, these little robots. And he uses kind of an arrow as his kind of weapon, so I guess it's not really supposed to be an arrow. And he has a nice 1x1 printed tile in the middle of him, but if you don't know how these work, well, just take a look all around, and you can see he does have an alternate face. And how these are built, they use different components, which I believe these are new pieces, like these little shoulder pieces, and you can see they have 2 holes on there. Then you have these pieces, which are old from Ninjago, which were used by the skeleton kind of minifigures. Then there's this middle center piece, which you can see is right there, and you can take off all of that and get down to that one piece. And that's really the base or body of this little robot. So here is Flamethrower. He's the last minifigure of the set. He has a little crossbow, some nice leg and torso printing, and he uses that mohawk piece. And has a pretty cool face as well. And you gotta keep in mind, this guy actually comes in one other set, and that set is the King's Mech. So Lance's Mecha Horse actually looks pretty good. It looks like a robotic horse, and there's also a really neat transforming feature that I think actually transforms it into a vehicle better than the Mecha Horse. Now, I like a lot of the colors they use. You know, they use the Nexo Knights themes colors, which are like orange and blue. And they actually have some nice kind of builds, especially with this little head right here. I really like how it came out. It wasn't the most elaborate build, but it looks like a horse head just fine. They also use some stickers, for example, on the top of the head right there, and on the side right here. You can see a few, which carry on all the way to the back. And currently I put this little shield so that it's holding the shield on the side right here, but you just kind of slide that in. It's a great place to hold the shield. And you could also hold Lance's kind of lance right here, and it just kind of sticks into the cannon part, which has 2 flick and fire missiles. And it is a very posable thing, so that was actually showing some of its posability, but we'll get to that later. And of course you could just flick the missiles out like that if you'd like. You know how those work, nothing special there. And you could put Lance's helper robots right on this kind of part to man the missiles. And then you could, of course, seat Lance in this cockpit part or whatever, driving seat, so that he could drive the horse all around. But these wheels and everything all come into play of the transformed vehicle, so we'll get to that. But first, let me show you the posability. For example, the head can be moved with this little wheel down here. That moves the whole kind of head and neck and everything. But if you just want to move the head alone, you could rotate it around just like that and move its little mane part, which it kind of looks like a mane because they use one of those smaller windshields in that trans orange, which looks kind of cool. Also, you know, it's like there's also some movement in the hooves as well if you want, because these rotate around like that. They're just in some Technic pins, and then they're on these hinge pieces, so you can move around the individual hooves themselves to whatever you want. Or you can move these little legs just like that, and they could even go almost a 360 around. And these little back parts are a little bit harder to move. I mean, these hooves move the same way as on the front, but the actual legs are both attached, so you kind of have to, those are really the only points they could kind of move at. And for the transforming feature, here's how you do it. Put the head like this, and then you put this whole part like this, then move these to the back, then move these up, and close them off just like this. And now you got this cool little kind of motorcycle looking thing. It actually looks really cool. I might even display it like this as opposed to the Mecha horse. It just looks a lot cooler in my opinion. And then for a closer look at this vehicle, you could put the little lance right here, and this also works on the horse as well if you don't want Lance to be holding it. And then you could put Lance in this little cockpit, as well as, of course, his helper robots on the side right here. And it just makes for a really cool looking kind of chopper, like a motorcycle chopper vehicle. So that's it for the build, and now on to the final verdict. So here is the actual box for the set, very thin $20 box, and you also got 2 instruction booklets, oddly enough, but surprisingly this build is actually pretty long for a $20 set. So overall, this set exceeded my expectations. I originally didn't even care for the set, and I just picked it up on a whim, like, it's here, let me try it out. And I really ended up liking it now that I have it built. I like both of the builds, even though it's one build that you transform. I like how it transforms into 2 totally different vehicles. You got a robotic horse, and then you got kind of this chopper-looking motorcycle thingy. That's awesome, and both builds look great. And then you got these 3 minifigures. It's a shame that none of them are exclusive besides this little robot helper, but the robot helper is kind of neat, and this is the cheapest way currently that you could get Lance, as well as Flamethrower. Other than that, there's some cool pieces that come in, but, I just love the color scheme of orange, translucent orange. So you got a lot of translucent orange pieces and some nice blue pieces as well. Overall, the design looks great. The value is great because it's 237 pieces for $20. I'll rate this set an A. You get a lot out of this set. You get some cool playability features, some cool minifigures, and some cool pieces. So that's it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I'll see you guys later.